Good morning, afternoon and night to who might be watching this video. My name is Rafael Bezerra and welcome to my channel. In this video I am going to talk about the 2002 film Infernal Affairs, directed by Andrew Lau and Ella Mack. I know that many people, including myself, might have heard of this film due to the fact that the director Martin Scorsese would make a remake of this in 2006, called The Departed. So I feel like making some comparisons between the two films. Scorsese won his first Oscar from the Academy because of The Departed, and I gotta be honest and say that I'm not that of a big fan of the post-year 2000 works of his, with some exceptions. I think that there are viewers who prefer The Departed over Infernal Affairs and vice versa. For me, I thought that both were okay, like average. To be fair to the original, I have rewatched The Departed much times more, so maybe giving a second chance and time might change my view on Infernal Affairs. But for now it's more of a matter of taste, they simply don't click that much for me. The story follows two men that took distinct paths in their lives. Sean Wing is sent as an undercover cop in the mafia and Lau King is a mafia member infiltrated in police. The first few minutes of the film are composed of fast editing sequences that show us the beginning of their relation with respective organizations. The selection process which they go through demonstrate that both are really smart and ideal to their future career. At the end of those flashbacks, we find out that they managed to infiltrate the core of the enemy. Sean Wing is now a man of trust and holds close relations with the mafia big boss. In its turn, Lau King now has a high status job in the police as an inspector. Both are entitled of helping the police and the mafia respectively, without raising any suspicions. A big dilemma is displayed in the beginning in a dialogue between Sean Wing and the chief of police, a close friend of his. We discover that he has been an undercover cop for 10 years now, and the line between acting as a gangster to keep the disguise and actually started to turn out to be one is getting each time more blurred. He's getting exhausted of this duality, but receives the promise that after the next step he's ready to retire. This is related to the opening with a Buddhist quote. The worst of the 8 hells is called continuous hell. It has the meaning of continuous suffering, thus the name. This feeling of being doomed to an eternal fight between the two sides, always having to hide the true nature, occurs to the true protagonist. The hope of the police is to catch the mob while they are making business with some Thailand drug dealers. But something happens and both sides fail. After being exposed to the fact that there are moles in the mafia and in the police, a hunt for them begins. There is a well-crafted contrast within the two sides without necessarily appealing to a stereotype of good versus evil. Like in this scene, the only one in the entire movie which the two sides find themselves in the same room. Japanese and Hong Kong cinema always had great thrillers, maybe because of major influence of things like Yakuza, but the main detail is that for the most part, the characters are actually smart. They don't rely only on shooting everything that moves. The script of Infernal Affairs is written to take the most of certain action moments, only with what the characters can have the effort to do themselves. Take that first moment of the drug dealing. The viewer gets here with minimal information. All we know is that the cops are in one building and the gangsters in the other, one trying to fool the other. As the scene progresses, the situation gets tighter and so do we get closer in a claustrophobic way of the moles to feel their tension, and the space gets smaller. As they start to acknowledge the existence of an infiltrate themselves, their methods get revealed. We find out that Sean Wing communicates through Morse code in the same time that the Lau King characters does. It's a clever way of displaying the visible threat that one has on the other, alternating from one side to the other with the same amount of information, raising it little by little until it gets to the boiling point, in which everyone is aware of a mole now. An important difference between The Departed and Infernal Affairs is the length. The Departed is a 2.5 hours film, while The Infernal Affairs has only 1 hour and 4 minutes of running time. Even though Infernal Affairs would later become a trilogy, the remake covers only the story of this film. What comes to mind is that Infernal Affairs is a way more action-driven movie. Everything that needs to happen happens only once. The key moments feels more accurately put, making the whole trajectory more concise. I guess that if I didn't already know that the chief of police was going to die, his death in this version would have had a big impact on me, because it's not like we see 5 deaths per minute. Every death is precisely inserted here with an emotional reaction expected from us. This Scorsese version has a cast full of stars such as Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon, and so does the original. Tony Leung is an incredible actor mainly from Wong Kar-wai films and the others acting major productions of Hong Kong. And if I didn't talk that much about Lau King character development, it's because it was the biggest flaw for me. Sean Wing has only one main dialogue about his problems with being undercover, and then it just develops smoothly along the action, and pressure speaks by itself. And the same happens to Lau King, but the script confuses itself and ends up creating those unnecessary and weird dialogues between him and his wife. What are the odds of him marry a woman who is constantly writing about a man with doubts about which path he wants to go? Each turn the psychology doesn't seem to be that useless, but their dialogues all seem weird. A problem extended to the female characters in The Departed, but here at least it is 10 times shorter. In compensation, the ending is simply marvelous. Both moles find themselves face to face, almost touch the blue sky as everything now is clear and above the confusion of the city below. Chen gets shot by a second infiltrate from Mafia who is killed next, and Lau actually survives all this. It has a cruelty that the remake didn't dare to replicate, putting someone who avenges the good. In parts because Matt Damon's character was a psychopath robot, and the ending is actually as cruel for Chen as it is for Lau. He made a choice of stopping working for the Mafia and helping in its destruction. But maybe it was too late. He's got no wife now and there is zero proof of who he actually was. But the hell will continue for him, since he now comprehends what he has done and will live in a non-ending suffering with remorse. It's a human punishment to human people, something great to see in an action movie. Those were my thoughts on the film Infernal Affairs from 2002. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in my next video.